welcome Lauren Moore, President of the Atlantic County Economic Alliance, to come forward and tell us all the stuff he's working on. I had a very fast but very deep conversation with you about all the new stuff you're working on and in aviation. And you've mentioned that aviation is the future of Atlantic City.
Well,
something like that.
What I would say is we're working on a regional economy, and Atlantic City is a part of that regional economy. Okay, the work that we're doing in the aviation cluster is focused around Atlantic City International Airport and the William J. Hughes FAA Technical Center, as well as the 6 tenants of the Tech Center as well. Transportation Security Labs, the Air Marshals, 177 Fighter Wing, Coast Guard, and others are also located out there. So what we're focused on is building an aviation cluster that is going to both help employ and attract PhD scientists and technicians, as well as a labor force to help with the air cargo industry. And I'm just curious, is there any press here? Because I want to be careful about what some of the things that I would love to talk about with some announcements, because I don't want to jump ahead of some of our press announcements for next week.
Oh, wow. A big hint.
Okay.
A big hint.
All right.
Well, I think expansion. He's talking about expansion.
Yes, absolutely. Talking about expansions and potential development of 400 plus acres, 2 million square feet plus. It's going to be a 10-year build out over time, but I liked what Elizabeth was talking about, working with our partner SCG McAllister over there from Atlantic Cape, working with Ren, we're working on a project to train veterans with Ren on the workforce to prepare our workforce for these jobs of the future, including the residents here in Atlantic City. So we do a lot of work with the Boys and Girls Club of Atlantic City as well, preparing them for the aviation jobs of the future.
Okay, so there may be a second building in the works at the National Aerospace Research Technology Park.
Yeah, so we're very excited about that. So I sit on the board of the National Aerospace Research and Technology Park. They're a sister organization. I work for a 501c3, Atlantic County Economic Alliance. We're developing 7 buildings, 400,000 square feet across 7 buildings. We got the first building built. We have 300 tech jobs in that building. Our big anchor is General Dynamics. We're getting ready to, we're planning a groundbreaking. Right now it's tentatively scheduled for mid-October for our second building of 40,000 square feet. It's about a $20 million building. And we have a very, very long list of tenants that are household aerospace names that want to come into the space.
Okay, you mentioned that you've submitted an application for a tech hub designation under the new Department of Commerce.
Yeah, so since we're working in the aviation research and development and technology sector, we applied to USEDA for a tech hub designation. It's going to be very competitive, for that. But yes, we did apply for that. And we've partnered with Rutgers, Rowan, Atlantic Cape, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and the National Institute of Aerospace. As Jim points out about relationships, everybody that's working here, our stock is relationships. That's how we get things done.
Okay. So you also talked about transit and how that needs to improve in the county.
Yeah, so it's interesting when we talk about, the worker deficit. We work with the Casino Association, and we find pockets. So even though Atlantic County is my client, like Elizabeth, Jim, I'm a licensed professional planner. I've been practicing for a while, but I'm a firm believer in a regional economy. And we've been working on mobility issues across South Jersey to get the workers that are out in the South Jersey community across the 4 southern counties to Atlantic City into these job vacancies. And what we're doing is we're working with New Jersey Transit, looking at bus routes, to kind of link the Millville, Vineland, Bridgeton area and other points across South Jersey to get them into these job openings.
And any improvements in sight for the New York City to Atlantic City transit corridor?
How did you? So it's interesting you asked that. So some of the other things that, of course, that we're working on with mobility issues and economic development. We all know that this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint with economic development. It takes time to put these pieces in place. And we've been working very hard also with New Jersey Transit on the Atlantic City rail line, to keep that pipeline open, as Lewis points out, to Philly. So they're not just coming in, on the expressway, and make that a real functioning rail line. The other thing too I want to point out that we're working on is to bring in freight rail into the Atlantic City Airport, into some of the industrial developments that we're hopeful to announce next week out at the airport.
Okay, that sounds good. You also talked about drones. I was thinking, wow, Atlantic City and drones. I was thinking maybe Dayton, which is an aviation hub. But so what's going on with drones?
So, and thank you for asking. So aviation research and development tends to be niche-y, and you really need to find your niche in the space. And uncrewed aerial systems, drones, are very sexy and glamorous. The students, the kids love them. And advanced air mobility. One of the things that's coming for everybody that's in this room is vertical takeoff and landing craft. eVTOL takes off vertically, the wings turn, and then it turns into a winged aircraft. That is coming. We're working with Joby, Archer, and others to have those test sites out at ACY with the FAA. And we're working very closely with Senator Menendez's office, Senator Booker's office, and Van Drew's office with reauthorization of the FAA Act to have the FAA Tech Center designated as an advanced air mobility center of excellence, so that all that work is done there, and then it puts some demand onto our aviation research park.
Do you think that can attract startups and venture investors to come in?
So, and I know we have a short amount of time here. We've run an aviation accelerator for the past 3 years. Out at the tech park. So we are now working with $1 million USEDA grant to put together a model for an entrepreneurial center in aviation. And our plan is to have that model tested and proposed by March of 2024, right, Max? I see Max sitting back there. So we're working on that with the team, and we're also working with Stockton on that. William Kleinsmith is, our point person at Stockton that we're working. He's one of the team members on that project.
Okay, well, great. Well, all waiting for your big announcement next week. Thanks for